Peace, love, and light upon your life. It is Dr. Makita Moore, CEO and founder of Soul Powerful Wellness Collective, your source for mental and spiritual health support. In this video, I'm going to be discussing some tips on how I cured my insomnia. Okay, so if you are currently dealing with insomnia, which is the difficulty to fall asleep as well as to stay asleep, definitely tune into this video and be sure to take some notes because I'm going to be giving you practical tips to help you to overcome that issue. Now, a little background on my own personal experience with insomnia. Um, I was someone who, this is probably around age 25, okay? Um, I always had difficulty falling asleep. I would fall asleep in inappropriate places, including class, including the car while driving. Um, and so I was always sleepy during the day, and then at night, I would struggle to fall asleep. Now, what was contributing to my difficulties falling asleep at night was anxiety. And eventually, what I came known to was ADHD, and also the treatment for the ADHD, which was stimulants. I was taking Ritalin for a little bit, and then I was taking, well, I'm sorry, actually, I was taking these medications, but I was taking it for the hypersomnia because I was falling asleep in school while driving in inappropriate places. I was taking these stimulants to keep me awake during the day. They potentially gave me ADHD or they just exacerbated the symptoms that I probably already did have. So I was taking, Ritalin to start, and then I was taking Adderall. And these, on top of the anxiety, contributed to insomnia, which for me looked like taking 1 to 2 to 3 hours to fall asleep at night. Sometimes if I took the Adderall too late, I might only get 2 hours of sleep. Okay. Now, this was really distressing for me because I was a full-time grad student and I was also a therapist. So because if I wasn't getting good sleep at night, I wasn't sharp in class. I also was not, being able to be fully alert during my therapy sessions. Um, so I began trying to find solutions for this. I tried melatonin, it didn't work. I actually went and did a sleep study. This is before they diagnosed me with the hypersomnia. So I did a sleep study and they told me that I did have some moments where I stopped breathing. Ultimately, I ended up having my tonsils removed, which now at this point I regret. The reason why I was having tonsils issues was because I was having internal health issues. That the tonsils, the issue of my tonsils being inflamed was a result of that. So I should have actually addressed the underlying issue that was affecting my tonsils instead of having the tonsils removed. But at the time, I didn't know about this, and the doctors were saying you're not breathing while you're sleeping. So let's see if it's a tonsils situation. And I was having frequent infections, well, frequent like tonsil stones, if you've ever heard of those. Um, so the sleep study basically diagnosed the hypersomnia, and then that's how I was put on the medication, the Adderall, the Ritalin, things keep me awake. So in grad school, I was at the point where I'm like, I want to be able to sleep like normal. I'm feeling more anxious during the day because I did not get good sleep. I had anxiety about falling asleep places that I didn't want to fall asleep, whether it was in class or working with my clients. I had a lot of anxiety about that. So, um, making a long story short, I decided to start investigating ways to improve my sleep. And the first thing that I came across were actually the first thing that I did that helped. Because I used to also have these recurring nightmares, and I would have these feelings of depersonalization. So if you're ever somebody who's ever had trauma, right, you might have this feeling of being detached from your body. You might feel like you're kind of in this dream mode, don't know if you're awake or you're asleep. Okay, so I was someone who had that. I was someone who also had sleep paralysis quite often, which is that condition in which your mind wakes up in a sense, but your body is still in that state of paralysis, which is what it goes into naturally when you hit deep REM sleep. So I was having a lot of things that were showing me that something wasn't right within. Okay. So when I was in grad school, I finally started going to therapy. At the time, I was going to therapy because I was like, I'm feeling like I got some. I knew I had anxiety, social anxiety, but I wasn't really trying to address that. But I was having some guilt and grief around my grandmother's death. She had just passed away before I started grad school. So I was going to therapy for that. And in there, I discovered that I had some childhood traumas, some childhood conflicts. And through therapy, that resolved those recurring nightmares. And it also helped me a little bit more to be a little bit more settled to go to sleep at night. Now, the thing that was so transformative for me that I discovered was sleep hypnosis. So, started therapy, was doing therapy that was helping with the sleep and getting rid of the recurring nightmares. And then I started doing these sleep hypnosis videos. I'm going to put the link when I write up the description. I'll put the link below for those, but they're called Sleep Hypnosis by Michael Seeley. And the first time I put on one of these videos, which is literally him just talking, and he kind of guides you down into a deep state of sleep. And he's just talking, talking, talking for like hours or 2 hours. The next day I woke up and I was just like, what happened? Right? Because I'm so used to taking hours to fall asleep and then waking up feeling like trash. I woke up the next day, I was like, what happened? Like I was so it was such a profound moment for me to say, I don't have to I don't have to hold on to this insomnia. I don't have to stay up all these hours, right? There is a solution for me. So that sleep hypnosis was also my introduction into meditation because in the sleep hypnosis, he's guiding me into a calmer state. And the reason why it worked for me as somebody who had anxiety and what later came to be known as ADHD was that it gave me something to occupy my mind at night. So that way my worries and stressors weren't the thing I was thinking about because those things are going to keep me more awake, right? Um, so therapy, sleep hypnosis videos by Michael Seeley. Another thing that significantly improved my ability to fall asleep at night was spending more time outside during the daytime. All right. And this was something that I learned in a book that I'll talk about a little bit later. But when you can spend more time outside in the day and expose yourself to sunlight, then your body becomes more aware of natural rhythms. So it's going to recognize, okay, the sun is down. So that means that it's time for bed. So your body will naturally begin to respond to that contrast between the daytime and the night if you spend the daytime outside. So one of the things I practice nowadays is that in the mornings I go out, or even from my window, I'll just stare at the sun as it's rising. I'll sun gaze. Okay. And then I'll go outside. I'll, go to the gym, spend as much time outside as I can, or have my meals outside. So that way there's more of a contrast. My body knows what sunlight is. Many of us are spending so much time indoors with these false lights. It's kind of confusing. Okay. All right, it's kind of confusing. So spending more time outside, and that also includes being in nature because just by being in nature, you're going to ground yourself more into a natural rhythm. So going outside, actually standing in the dirt and grounding yourself, right? Just getting yourself back to natural things. Okay. Um, on the subject of light, you want to, another thing I started utilizing was blue light blockers. I don't have mine on right now because it's actually late over here. It's almost 9 p.m. my time. So I typically would, but utilizing the blue blocker glasses. Now, what these things do is they block out the blue light that is emitted from your computers, your phones, your tablets, your television, because that blue light, when it comes in, it's basically telling your brain to wake up, that it's daytime. So what you want to do is when the sun begins to set, you want to put these glasses on, and there's, you can find them all over the internet. Find them on Amazon. That's where I got mine from, really cheap. And you put those on in the evening. That way you're blocking out that blue light that's going to try to wake you up. Okay. The next thing I would suggest that helped me a lot was the nighttime routine. Okay. Now this is very important for people, especially those who have anxiety. Okay. Establishing yourself a nighttime routine. Now, what this nighttime routine does is that it helps to program your body and give it cues, to give your body cues that it's time for night, it's time for bedtime. Okay. So my nighttime routine includes me making my tea. That might either be a chamomile tea, which is an herb that helps to relax the body, or it will be my calm powder, which is basically a magnesium-based powder that helps to relax the body. And this was another thing I got from the book that I'll mention a little bit later on. Okay, so I have my tea with my chamomile or my calm powder. The next thing I'll do is I'll review my planner. I'll go and look at everything I did for the day and what is to come tomorrow. That way I can just offload. I don't have to go to bed worrying about, oh, did I do this, blah, blah, blah. I already know what I did and what's coming up. Okay, so I can offload everything off the brain. And then after the planner, I'll do my journaling. And this is where I can process the emotions of the day, right? What is on my heart? What is on my mind? What do I need to get off, right? What do I want to affirm? So tea, planner, journaling. And then after that, I'll do some type of body movement just to kind of release the energy of the day. So some stretching just inside the bed, do some stretching in the bed. And then after the stretching, I'll go into my prayer. If you don't do prayer, this would also be a good time for meditation. Okay. But by going through that and doing that consistently, your body is going to know, oh, when we do tea, when we plan, when we do the journal, that means it's time for bed. So it's going to make it easier for your body to begin to shut down and go to sleep. Okay. What was I about to say? Oh, and another thing I started to do at times was actually to tell myself it's time for bed, right? So if I'm laying in bed and I realize my mind is still a little busy, I'll say, hey, it's time to go to sleep, right? Because we'll just like get into bed, but we don't actually give ourselves that commandment. So when we can command ourselves, like, hey, it's time for bed, or to create that transition between our day and our night, that'll help in a big way. Okay. Now we're going to get to the book, and I'm keeping this video short so that way it'd be nice and practical. All right, so the book is called Sleep Smarter by Shawn Stevenson. And ever since I discovered this book back in 2017, maybe, I've been telling people about it all the time because it is an amazing book where everything is very practical and it is science-based. So there's evidence to support the things. And also I personally applied the things in the book. It was so helpful for me. I love the book. I actually use it as my nighttime read, which is another way to help yourself fall asleep at night, is to actually read at night. Don't read anything that's going to make you very active or afraid, but just read something that's kind of calming. This book I like reading at night because I would read a chapter and then I would apply that chapter that night. So it was an easy way for me to just, practice the things. Some of the major things that he talked about in that book that helped me was like the circadian rhythm. So getting outside during the day, setting your environment, right? So your bedroom should only be for sleep and sex, right? Try to keep the work outside of it because now we're confusing the body. It doesn't know if this space is for working or for sleeping. So try to only exclusively do the sleep in your bedroom. Okay. Another thing they talk about in that book is the room temperature. Okay. So they talk about having a cooler room temperature. It's going to help you to get a deeper sleep, and then sleeping with socks on, which was something that I was like, oh, let me start doing this. And it definitely helps. So that book has tons and tons of different sleep hygiene tools. This is called Sleep Hygiene. And it's very, very helpful. So I would definitely encourage you to check out their website. I think the website is called sleepsmarterbook.com. I'll put the link in the description as well. And it is super transformative. So shout out to Shawn Stevenson and that amazing book. Shout out to Michael Seeley and the amazing sleep hypnosis videos. There's tons of different ones on there. The one I'll link below is a sleep hypnosis for depression. It's not the original one that I listened to back in 2016 or so, but it is, or 20, I don't know what it was, but it is a good one. And then for his, you can just type in sleep hypnosis for anxiety or sleep hypnosis for releasing negativity or whatever it is. And he has tons of them up there. Let's see, anything else? These are the major things that transform my sleep. And just to recap, that was therapy. Therapy to address the underlying issues that were contributing to my anxiety and my distress at night. Meditation, learning to meditate. Oh, I think I might have missed that one, but meditation too. Learning how to meditate. The sleep hypnosis was my introduction into meditation, but also you want to do meditation during the day to train your body into a calm state. So that way at night, you can just, right, you can notice when you're active, you can notice when you're relaxed. So you can train yourself to be in that more relaxed state. Spending time in the sun during the day, using the blue blocker glasses at night, creating yourself a nighttime routine that gives your body cues that it's time to go to sleep. And as a part of one of the sleep hygiene things that's important to remember is also do not eat. I think the window is like no more than 3 hours um, before you go into your bedtime. So, because if your body's trying to digest food, it's not going to be as relaxed as it would if it wasn't. So, eating like leaving a 3 hour window from your last meal to when you go to sleep. So that's another one. And then of course those sleep hygiene practices I talked about, tuning into your circadian rhythms, not doing other things in the bedroom aside from sleep and sex. And I think that's it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep this video short. I also do have some sleep meditation videos on my YouTube. If you have your child is struggling with sleep difficulties, I have some ones up there for the kids. And yeah, if you need support on learning how to meditate or learning how to build a practice to assist with your insomnia, feel free to reach out to me individually. You can visit the website drmakita.com to schedule a one-on-one consult. You can join the Soul Powerful Wellness Collective. We meet every Saturday and we do guided meditation, talk about different mental and spiritual health topics, and just kind of collectively work on our healing journeys. So all those resources are available to you all. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Let me know what tips you want to try. Let me know what things have worked for you. So that way the community can benefit from all of us coming together. Our sleep is so important, from our mental health to our physical health to our spiritual health. You definitely want to take care of your sleep. If you're not sleeping good, definitely get ahead of it. You will be surprised at how transformative it is to improve your sleep quality. Okay. All right, so that is it for today. Sending everybody peace, love, and light upon your life. Stay so powerful.